After the wild summer had ended, school was back in session. On the first day of sophomore year, my dad dropped us off in front of the new school. As we approached the crowd of students, we were swarmed by all the girls. They touched our hair, backs, arms, and hands, making us feel like celebrities. Thankfully, some senior girls came to our rescue and guided us to our homeroom classes, saving us from the overwhelming attention. The female seniors were old enough to buy cigarettes and they smoked, so we knew we had just made a valuable connection. We spent the remainder of the day laughing at the goofballs in our class. We quickly forged new bonds with the juniors and seniors, securing our supply of cigarettes, weed, liquor, and of course, rides. On the third day of classes, we were hit with some news from Spider's family. His parents had randomly decided to pack up and move to another state for a fresh start. We were both disappointed but also excited for the new doors that were opening up for each of us. We promised to stay in touch over the phone and vowed he'd come back every summer. After he had left, I spent the first half of my sophomore year going to parties, making new friends, dating a lot of girls, and being popular. During the second half of my sophomore year, I had a life-altering decision. Leaving behind the comfort of home and familiarity of it, I moved in with my aunt. My dad thought it was a great opportunity to mend the shattered bonds with my family. Although little did I know that each day there was the thrill of sneaking around to drink or smoke weed, a double-edged sword, constantly on edge, yet oddly exhilarated by the risks. Then came that fateful Friday. I decided to get high, oblivious to my scheduled eye doctor's appointment. The moment I met my aunt's piercing gaze with my bloodshot eyes, the first lie I told her was that my red eyes were from tears because I missed my mom. She saw right through me. Anger flashed in her eyes as she tried to hit my chest, but eventually her rage softened and she made me something comforting to eat. After that moment, my life was on complete lockdown. No phone, no internet, no friends outside of school. I spent those last 3 agonizing months detoxing, feeling every painful pang of withdrawal. When the school year had ended, I finally returned to my dad's house, but I wasn't coming home to a house I recognized. I walked into a new reality, a girlfriend he'd move in, along with her 3 daughters. It was a profound transformation, and their presence brought a whirlwind of excitement into my life. His girlfriend, with her youthful charm, became my accomplice in rebellion, buying me alcohol and cigarettes. We even shared a fun day together where we got high, and she took me to get my tongue pierced. But then she vanished from our lives. For the next 3 years, Spider would visit every summer, and we would lose ourselves in drunken escapades and spontaneous adventures. Yet beneath the surface, I sensed a shift. We were growing up, but we were still lost, unsure of our paths. I found myself entangled in toxic relationships with women who brought chaos and drama into my life. I was slowly starting to drown in the turmoil, desperately yearning for unconditional love and peace to anchor me. Eventually, Spider moved back to our home state and started to live with my dad and I when we were around 18 or 19. One night, while out partying, we met a guy dating one of the girls we knew. He boasted about his dreams of being a great rapper and achieving fame. Curiously, we checked out his music on MySpace and ended up laughing uncontrollably. This skinny crackhead baby-looking kid really believed he was destined for greatness. My friend and I exchanged a look that said it all. We could do better. We talked to the dweeb and he gave us all the software we needed to start recording our own music and creating digital art on our own. For the first time, we felt a spark of purpose. We envisioned a future where we'd be rich and famous in the music industry. The girl I was dating at the time was a Christian believer, and she didn't want me to get into the music industry because she feared being cheated on. Our relationship was riddled with constant arguments over petty things, causing so much unnecessary stress. She kept insisting that the people I was hanging out with were bad influences and was always trying to get me to stop drinking and smoking. We had started off as friends, and a simple kiss eventually led us to becoming a couple. Initially, it was all fun and games, like Bonnie and Clyde. We'd find ways to make a quick buck, but as time went on, she started to change. She constantly spoke of God and the need for us to change our ways. Her dreams were filled with children and family, while mine were consumed by the pursuit of wealth and fame. Our paths diverged, and our beliefs no longer intertwined. We clung onto each other longer than we should have, driven by a deep natural attraction that only made the eventual heartbreak more devastating when we finally let go. I was shattered when we finally parted ways, because she had become an addiction to me, and I was enduring severe withdrawal symptoms. Even being with other girls after she left felt like a void inside. I felt like I was losing my mind. I couldn't think straight. My buddy and I were already having issues with one another, since he was always messing around with a girl I introduced him to when he was supposed to be creating graphics for the album we were working on. We were both going through major drama in our lives from the women we were dating and getting into heavier drugs to numb the pain. We were spiraling out of control and becoming toxic friends toward one another. Our friendship ended one night when his girlfriend invited us to a party with her friends, and we were extremely wasted. Spiders started getting violent, and I punched him in the stomach, knocking him unconscious. About 10 minutes later, he started getting back up, mad that I had knocked him out, and wanted to kick my ass. A couple of older guys held him back, and instead he started talking bad about me. At that point, we just started tearing each other down with words, and I knew there was nothing that could be done to restore the friendship. After that night, I shut myself in my room for a week, poured my soul into my music. One sunny morning, the weather was perfect, so I decided to ride my bike, get high, and read a book on top of a hill. As I soaked in the warmth of the sun, laying on the grass, a stranger around my age approached me. He pulled a bottle of vodka from his pants, revealing he had stolen it from the liquor store around the corner. He asked if I wanted a shot and invited me to a gang party that night. Free drugs, beer, and girls, he said. With nothing better to do that night, I said sure, why not? I met up with him later that day and was captivated by the recording studio they had set up. We dove into creating music, losing track of time as the hours flew by. Darkness fell and more people started arriving. I was incredibly high when everyone suddenly got up and headed outside to pile into a big SUV. I hopped in with the rest of the folks, caught up in the moment. As the journey unfolded, we made several stops, and I was thrust into a nightmare, witnessing horrors no human should ever experience. It hit me like a punch in the gut that I was trapped. I knew too much, and any attempt to escape would mean certain death. We went back to their house and kept recording music, but the weight of the night's events hung heavy in the air. The leader of the gang, Joker, whispered to the three of his members, and their cold, dagger-like gazes turned toward me. Unease settled in my stomach. I knew a hit was probably being planned against me. I approached them and offered a beer and a joint. Slowly, two members softened, taking a liking to me, but the third remained on edge. Desperate to diffuse the tension, I introduced him to a girl, and they hit it off. Now all three were distracted, much to their leader's frustration. Sensing my chance, I challenged Joker to show off his rapping skills. With a surge of pride, he grabbed the mic and forgot his anger, the night shifting away from danger, if only for a moment. Even though they didn't know exactly where I lived, the 5-minute drive between us meant that the fear of running into them was very high. Befriending them became my survival strategy. I voluntarily became their trusted driver, and they supplied me with the equipment to create better music and filled my vein with drugs. This charade went on for months, but the pain inside my soul only deepened. No drug could heal the gaping void in my heart. I felt like a prisoner, shackled by my own choices, unable to find a way out without facing dire consequences. And so, guys, stay tuned for chapter 4. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the story. Leave any comments below if you really are. And I'm sending you guys so much love, and I'll talk to you guys very, very soon. See ya.